The Lion Man figurine, carved from mammoth ivory, it is 30 centimeters high and 6 centimeters in diameter. It was found in 1931 in the cave of Hohenstein-Stadel in the Valley of Lohn, Baden-Württemberg, Germany, and it was determined by carbon dating of the layer in which it was found to be between 35,000 and 40,000 years old. It claims to be the oldest sculpture ever known. When it was found, it was in bits, and a team of experts has meticulously assembled it. Originally, it was believed to be a female. It is now known to be a male. The arms bear striations carved into the ivory. Years after the initial discovery, the museum officials were presented with an ivory lion muzzle found in the cave. It was a perfect fit. Today it is pieced together from more than 1,000 tiny pieces. It is kept in Germany in the City Museum of Ulm, but many museums all over the world own a copy. Most of the pictures that you see in here are from the webpage of Don Hitchcock, a semi-retired high school mathematics science teacher resident in Australia. He, like me, believes in knocking down walls between disciplines, and I really hope to be able to invite him to one of our workshops. And now you'll hear curator Jill Cook introducing this 40,000-year-old sculpture of a lion man with very interesting comments.
The Lion Man is made of mammoth ivory. This is the biggest animal in the late Ice Age environment. The fiercest animal in the environment was the cave lion, bigger than a modern African lion, without a mane, a huge fierce creature. What the sculptor who made the Lion Man has done is to combine the mammoth, the lion, and the human. So we have human legs and a groin, the navel in the correct place for a human being, and then as you come up the body, you come into these immensely broad and strong shoulders and a head, the head of a lion, made with such naturalism that we can see that he's watching, that he's listening. The little furrow behind his ear is the furrow created as the muscles tense for the ear to be turned and alert while listening. His eyes are looking forward and his mouth in this extraordinary grin. This combination of human and animal features, this alertness, this participation, suggests that there's a conversation going on here. A conversation of a human who is so much part of nature, who wears clothes, makes tools, has fire, but yet is in awe of this fierce lion from whom it's important to protect oneself, but also to admire. So this is a really important conversation happening here. Now, I can't say whether this sculpture represents an avatar or a deity or a creation story. None of that really matters. What matters is this conversation, this sign of mind, and this sign of using a belief in beings and worlds beyond nature that help us to get by, that help us to give us meaning and understanding and to overcome the things that frighten us, but also to share stories with one another around the fire. And we know this has happened with the Lion Man because his body is polished by the wear of being passed from hand to hand. And he's found in a cave, Stadel Cave, not far from Ulm in Baden-Württemberg. Deep in its recesses, the Lion Man was carefully put away after sharing stories around the fire.
And now you're going to hear Waldemar Januszak talking about the 25,000-year-old Venus of Willendorf, currently at the Natural History Museum in Vienna, in Austria.
Fake Venus of Willendorf. I brought the fake one along because I'm not allowed to touch the real one. She's too precious and old. But I wanted to show you just how snugly she fits in the hand, how rubbable and touchable she is. And that surely is what she was made for, to be handled. She's got no feet. That's not because they've been lost, but because she's never had any. She's never been able to stand up. So she must have been made to be carried around. That's why she's so tiny and transportable. She's a lucky charm or talisman, something you took with you to help you get something important. What could she be helping with?
Precisely. This Venus was carved from oolitic limestone and was covered with a thick layer of red ochre when found. This figurine was unearthed during the Bachau railway construction in 1908 in Austria. The detail is extraordinary. Wouldn't you be interested in finding out more about this lady? My third and last example is in Altamira, a cave in North Spain in the Cantabria region. This time, paintings, not figurines. The oldest paintings in the Altamira cave were applied during the Upper Paleolithic, that is, around 36,000 years ago. Let us now have a look at these images of half human, half animals. The drawings were done by the French Abbé Bruil, and there are very few in number from this period, all around the world really. Here in Altamira, several of these drawings were lost when a middle ceiling in Gallery 5 collapsed. Although these images of human beings portrayed as half animals do exist in this period, compared to the number of images of animals, they are few and far between, and they are never superimposed onto other images. I have always been fascinated by this image, found at the caves of Lascaux in France. The image is placed quite separate from the very many images of animals, as if it has a particular and special meaning. My reading is that the human is about to die. He has made a terrible mistake. His spear has ripped open the womb of a pregnant female bison, and the fetus is coming out. The warrior knows his mistake and abandons himself to his fate, open arm. He is wearing a bird-like mask. Perhaps if the beast kills him, he can recover his soul that is already on top of a spear, ready to fly away. Next to them, a rhinoceros is peacefully defecating. Life goes on. What follows are the humanoids on the walls of Altamira, drawn as well by the abbot. Notice that they have also a bird-like head, like the one at Lascaux. And this one has perhaps wings and a fish-like tail. I believe this bird-like head is very important, as I will explain in a moment. Two of them have an erected penis, and in the case of this one, the phallus is in relief. Another very enigmatic thing are the geometric images found in the cave. They interest me particularly, and I will explain why. Here I quote José Antonio Las Heras, director of the museum next to the Altamira cave. He says, Towards the interior of the cave, at about 65 meters from the mouth, a big blind gallery is found, full of red signs. This small space, of little more than a meter width and 5 meters length, has at the top a sign composed of 4 irregular internally divided ovals. Halfway up on the interior face of one ledge is a large sign which reaches a length of 3 meters and up to 50 centimeters width. It is formed of large bands of parallel lines crossed by small transverse strokes. In order to see it, it is necessary to bend down and even lie down on the floor to appreciate it in its entirety. The narrowness of the space makes the contemplation of these and other signs, which are on one of the walls, difficult, and does not allow the simultaneous presence of more than 2 people, which makes one reflect upon its function or original use. End of quote. So, once again, there is this need of privacy, which seems to be a main issue with all the images in this cave. Also, I think it is important to mention that this particular red image, whatever this pattern represents, it is trying to protrude the rock, as if it wants to enter the inside of the mass. Most of these caves have rock formations that resemble human vaginas, as if the cave itself is a living womb. Caves resemble the entrails of Mother Earth. I remember clearly when I was walking inside the cave of Las Monedas, or Tito Bustillo, also in the north of the peninsula, that I had the strong feeling that I was walking inside a living womb. Also, the vacuum of its depth and high ceilings created a weird sound which reminded me of an exhibit at the National History Museum here in London a while ago. They reproduced the noises that a human fetus was hearing while inside of his mother's womb. Let's go back to the cave. These images here in black seem to be doing the same thing than the red sign. The geometric patterns are heading towards the join, towards the clitoris of the massive womb. They are returning to the ground, where life emerges, but with a conscience, to acquire bigger power. As crazy as this might sound, in my view, these geometric images are wings. Let's remember that as far back as the 9th century, Abbas ibn Firnas, a Berber born in Cordoba, attempted to fly. That is 6 centuries before Leonardo da Vinci. And apparently he managed to remain in the sky quite a while before being forced to an unsuccessful landing that crippled him. The prehistoric ancestor had few resources, but an enormous imagination. To build something similar to Firnas was not impossible. It only required a belief that luck would be by his side. Where better than the entrails of the earth to look for reassurance? The man in Lascaux has a bird-like head, and so did the ones in Altamira. They are not unique. I gather the biggest quality of a bird is the fact that it can fly. In my view, the prehistoric human greatest quality was directness. He or she could not afford to make mistakes. What were the beliefs of our ancestors, we don't know, but we have images that could be studied from different disciplines and maybe get closer to a better understanding of the past. So, you have heard 2 professionals talking about 2 beautiful figurines, as well as my personal comments about some particular signs in the Altamira cave. I invite you to do the same. What is your response to these 3 works of art? 40,000 years ago, agriculture did not exist. Human beings lived in caves and hunted animals. They did not have pottery to eat from. Yet they had the same human emotions that we have. What was the function of the lion man? What was the little Venus used for? Could the Paleolithic human being fly? What do you think?